Yesterday there was an update to Counter-Strike 2 which added Anubis and Ancient back into the game. Now, I have already covered these maps on my stream, and I have my first reactions up there, and I'll upload that to my main channel. If you guys don't know about that, subscribe top right. It'll be there tomorrow. But my first reaction overall is that the map looks absolutely gorgeous, and Anubis has really just never looked better. There hasn't been any map changes to Anubis except for the one that I'm about to show you, which is that here in towards the canal area, the boat that used to be here has been removed. And other than that, Anubis is exactly the same. It looks absolutely gorgeous. They've updated the fountain with now there's water here where you can step on. It's just overall a very pretty map, and I can't lie, I am very, very impressed. We've already had a couple of maps added into CS2 that have taken my breath away when I look at them, but none have quite done it like Anubis has done it, because overall this map just looks, I don't even know, it looks like real life. I can't even lie. But overall, that's pretty much all that they did to Anubis, was they just directly ported it over and switched out a few things. Obviously, the water looks really cool. They made it so that guns now will leave a little splash whenever they land. And they also made it so that chickens can swim, which is pretty funny as well to see a chicken swimming in the water. Go ahead, go. Look at him go, he's swimming. As far as Ancient goes, Ancient looks absolutely stunning as well, and there's also been a really cool update with the water. It looks a lot more disgusting, which obviously we like to see that, and obviously it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now there is one current glitch in this version of the beta, which is that the CT mollies actually are getting extinguished in this water. It also happens on Anubis, and I'm not really sure why. It doesn't happen with the Molotov on T-side. Some people think that that's an intentional feature. I think it's just a glitch. But yeah, right now CT mollies don't land in water. I expect that to be changed. But as far as Ancient goes, Ancient actually did get a couple of map changes to the overall map, and they look a little something like this. So the first thing that has changed is that you can no longer do that pixel surf to get on top of here, but we don't care about that. That was a glitch anyway. The next thing is that Cave has been reworked a little bit, which is that there's now boxes here and a couple of things along the walls that make it look like it has a little more character in here. Obviously, this box will provide a couple of different things, maybe an off angle, maybe you can hold from back here. Who knows what it's going to do, but I actually do really like that change. The other thing that they've done is they've actually put a light here in Cave. Now, we've already had this discussion with Vertigo and how I think these lights absolutely ruin the maps, and people said that I was basically just a crybaby, but you have to be honest with me that some of these just aren't fair. For example, when we see a regular normal meta cave smoke come through, we'll be able to see people if they try to come through the smoke before they even come through the smoke, because the shadows aren't hidden in, with this, the smoke doesn't hide the shadows. So if somebody were to try to come through the smoke, we'd still be able to see them, and obviously that's just not good. And along with these new lights, there's actually 4 of these lights that have been added to the map. You can actually stand on top of them as well, and I don't really know how I feel about this. I mean, it's definitely cool for a nice off angle, I suppose, if you wanted to make some map changes, but things like this really just, shouldn't be in the game, at least in my opinion. In towards Red Room here, we actually have another pretty good change, which is where they added another light, which does the same thing with the shadows, but they actually have added quite a few boxes into this corner, which actually makes it so that you can't go into the corner like you used to be able to in CSGO, and I think the reason that was is because there was somewhat of a fortress in here, because you could play any angle you wanted to hold house. For example, you could play this angle, which is still in the game, but you could also play up close on the left here, you could play up close in spawn, you could obviously play this angle right here, which is really good, you could play it back here. There was just too many angles, and I think that simplifying it a little bit with these boxes is actually a very nice change for them to do. They've actually added a light in towards the temple area, which obviously this does the same thing, where you can stand on top of it and do funny things, and and it does do the shadow thing, which I've already talked about again, which is obviously bad, because if I was getting ready to come up here and peek towards CT, my shadow would show along the wall, which means that anybody that's waiting right here will be rewarded, because they'll be able to see my shadow and get the kill. I've seen the argument that people should just know where the lights are, but let's be honest, none of the casual players are going to invest that much time into this, so this is going to get a lot of unfair kills, and even in the pro scene, I think that just cutting off areas like this with just, like, a light, it's kind of a weird way to do things. I mean, think about it. Like, imagine you're in a crazy 1v1 and you're about to win the major, and you step here on accident and this guy gets the info. Like, maybe look at my shadow. It goes along this wall when I stand here, and I step here for a second. My shadow is on this wall, and this guy sees me and he's like, "Oh, he's there!" And then all of a sudden it's over, and you didn't even you didn't even do anything wrong. You just accidentally stepped on a shadow. Like, you might think, like, look at this. This is too much. Like, you can't even come in here really. And I just think that that's something that just definitely shouldn't be in the game. And the final overall change to the map was obviously that they've removed the self boost to get on top. Now this might not be intentional, but you can no longer jump on here. It's actually been completely clipped off. You can't stand on top of the sign anymore, which means you can't self boost onto here. You can still get boosted up here with a teammate, but you can't do it by yourself anymore, which I think is actually a pretty nice change. But you know, obviously it's going to be annoying to get used to. And then here's the last light that they added on Ancient, which also does the same thing, where you can jump on top of it. Oh, hold on. Where you could jump on top of this light, and you have this weird angle the whole day main, and you're actually hidden behind these vines. I have yet to see what this looks like from somebody else's perspective because CS doesn't have servers that you can host by yourself, so I can't see how this looks, but I can only imagine that this is going to be a really good off angle to hold for people for pushing a main. And again, I don't dislike the fact that they added these lights that you can stand on. It's just more about the fact that now you can't do anything, because anytime you want to come up a main, my shadow shows on this wall because of that light that didn't used to be there, which means that look at where I can see that wall from right here. I can literally just sit here and I can know when somebody is about to come a main before they come here. This is not a good change. It just ruins a lot of the competitiveness of these matches, where there's going to be a lot of times when there's downtime or people are walking not to make noise, and you could just get your shadow spotted. And most of these do actually favor CT engagements, which would just only make this map more CT sided. And they've already made many attempts to make sure that Ancient isn't CT sided. They moved the spawns back. They made the B side a little bit more open so the T's have more lines of sight. They've done so many things that say that they want this map to be more T sided, and then they go ahead and add all these lights that give you the CTs, that is, a very favorable advantage. I'm just not the biggest fan of that, and I think that that needs to be removed immediately. But other than that, I'm very happy with all the changes that have been added to the game. I think Ancient and Anubis look absolutely stunning, and obviously I'm very happy with the way that all this stuff looks, even though I do have some complaints about the lights. Overall, I'm very impressed with how Ancient and Anubis look. The water is absolutely stunning, and they also did one last thing, that you can now inspect the bomb. I can't wait. There's only one more map to come out in CS2, which will be Inferno, and then we'll have the entire map pool. I think that we're getting very close to the release of this game, and I'm very excited to see you there. So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss any content, and I'll see you later. Peace.